Fallout may be the most famous video game series in existence. It's up there with Halo, Metal Gear, Barrio Mothers. Fallout 1 came out in 1997, but most people really only came and played it after playing Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, and so they're in for a bit of a shock. Oh man, I've always really wanted to play this game. But before we get to that, this is the first in 6 reviews, Jesus, that will cover the entire Fallout series. If you don't like it, then here's a door. I'm also moving my weekly streams where I play a heavily modded Skyrim. We just gotta land on something. Beautiful, for fuck's sake. To twitch.tv/UpIsNotJump. I'm gonna be doing the same thing, but we're gonna be playing Fallout 4 instead. Play a clip. It began as a series all the way back in 1997, but only really became astronomically popular when Fallout 3 was released in 2008. Now, Fallout 3 was of course made by a totally different group of people than the first 2 games, but it really does amaze me how much the visual design and in part I believe the success that Fallout 3 has slurped away from Fallout 1. Both the game's trailers are of course the exact same sequence. And that's obviously fine. Bethesda paid for this entire series, so I'm not throwing shade. But I am a little bit concerned that once it becomes time for Bethesda to make a sequel to Fallout 3, if they aren't able to come up with any new or groundbreaking ideas, it may seem like Fallout as a series has nowhere else left to go and they're just grinding it down to an empty husk of its former self. So Fallout 1, just so we're clear, is a game about leaving your lovely vault and going out into the wasteland to find resources that help keep your vault healthy and safe. It came out in 1997, so it's pretty damn old. I played this game for the first time a few years ago, and honestly I actually quite like the visuals. They remind me of Commandos 2, a game I really enjoyed as a kid.
That was great!
Thank you. Fallout 1's visuals, even at the time, fell into that sweet spot between passable and okay. Enormous praise. The visuals intentionally, I think it's intentional, do force you to use your imagination, which I always find is really effective for sucking people into a game. But there's a lot more to it than that. Yes, things may be a little low res, but everything in this game is incredibly stylized and detailed. The power armor, for example, is covered in pipes, shafts, valves. There's even a wheel on your back when you're wearing it. What's best about all the details in this game is that none of it's ever really explained why it's there in the first place. Bethesda, no, don't do this to us! The design of the super mutants and ghouls in this game is, I cannot stress this enough, nothing short of perfection. Everything about these characters you meet tells you something unique about them. The Lieutenant, for example, has undergone severe cybernetic enhancements, which backs up his obvious high rank. And Set here is so irradiated it looks like he is literally being held together by his armor. Almost everything in this game has unique design, right down to the Pip-Boy menu system with the vacuum tube lights, but I'm sure that idea won't be stolen by anyone. This design, combined with the game's incredible soundtrack, instills this genuine fear that the world has come to an end and no amount of positivity or hope will save it. I don't tend to talk about soundtracks much because I don't usually have a lot to say between these 2 categories, but I do love adding orchestral scores to space simulator games. No, come on, we gotta focus! The soundtrack in this game is a badass. Does that make sense?
Badass.
Badass. A badass.
Right, the soundtrack in this game is...
It is the definition of simple yet effective. My favorite parts by far are when you're exploring barren locations in the literal middle of nowhere. Literal middle of nowhere. The echoing wind, the sinister whistling, the unrecognizable metallic sounds in the distance. It makes you feel alone, but also like anything could be around the next corner, watching, waiting.
Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. So if you are coughing up blood at the visuals... Wait, this is non-toxic, right? Oh, I don't feel very well. I'm not gonna die, am I? then Fallout 1's interface itself might actually kill you. To interact with the world, you have this menu system at the bottom. It isn't overly complex example. It isn't overly complex example, it's just it isn't complex exactly, but it's on screen from the very beginning of the game. So the very first thing that happens is a rat suddenly attacks you, and what do? The problem is pretty much every separate menu in the entire game can be opened from this little interface here. In more modern games like Fallout 3, for example, you tend to have everything you could want to know available available from one menu. This makes interacting with the game a lot less daunting. Fallout 1 also, of course, has no tutorial, so most people spend a good 30 minutes of their opening playtime trying to work out how to take out this fucking rat. Step over, Legate Lania, Spider Mastermind, and Mr. McGregor. There's a new boss in town, and she's here to exclusively take up half your morning. Every time someone complains about not knowing how the classic games work, it's usually because they never bothered to look up any manual whatsoever. Oh really, Sound T? Take a seat then and we'll just open her up, shall we? Do you want me to take a short holiday to read up on how to play Fallout 1, a game that looks like Doom 2 was run over by a car? Look, I don't want to be a dick about this, but obviously I do. To show how complicated things can get, let's show how armor alone affects combat when we have a battle with this rat. Rat valve. When your deadly enemy attacks you, there are three major things relating to your armor that decide what happens. This affects your opponent's hit number and is subtracted from their chance to hit. This is then combined with any of your leftover action points to determine your enemy's hit number. It's dodge, call it dodge. If you fail to dodge, a devastating blow will be made by your unvanquishable enemy. To determine how much damage you actually take, damage threshold needs to come into play. This is a set number that reduces the base amount of damage taken. And what decides damage threshold? Well, the 121-page manual doesn't actually say noise coffee, but it's basically just a specific number that changes depending on the armor you're wearing. Here's the official equation. Your damage resistance decides the final amount of Your damage resistance decides the final amount of damage taken by reducing it by a percentage value of the current damage taken value. There's the equation. It is also set by the armor you're wearing. And how does this transpire after? Okay. This is also set by the armor you're wearing. And how do things transpire after this brutal attack? Cave Rat hits you for 0. The thing is though, this system being quite tricky doesn't really matter. It's present in loads of other games like Fallout New Vegas, and you just don't really need to think about it. Though it is worth remembering that this system was almost completely absent from Baby's first Fallout. Fallout 3 for babies. This issue is from Screen 1, there's this and so many other systems. The thing is though, in Fallout 1 there's so many other systems and menus to get your head around. Even after memorizing the manual, it is incredibly overwhelming in your first combat scenario to see your action class spinning around like the fucking Wheel of Fortune. Now, I'm not saying that this game needs a standard tutorial like most games these days. If your health falls to 0, you die. Oh my god. But perhaps if Fallout 1 started you off in a building with doors to unlock, people to sneak past, or traps to uncover, it would be a much easier way to get you used to the simpler parts of the game's interface, rather than just throwing you right into combat, which is by far the game's most complicated system.
Human weapons cannot harm me.
Well, I beg to fucking differ. You see, Fallout 1 came out way before there was the great purge of old video game tropes, where for better or worse, things like tutorials, single menu screens, maps, and quest markers became standard procedure. This was all the way back when the nonsense logic of point-and-click adventure games still reigned supreme. Let's take Day of the Tentacle, for example. At one point, this game presents you with a guarded door, and to get by with absolutely no hint, clue, or explanation, you need to go outside, put some white out on a random fence, wait for a cat to crawl through it so it will get a white line on its back, grab the cat, take it inside, throw it at some prisoners so they'll get scared because they think it's a skunk, they'll escape from their cells, the guard will leave to chase them, and you can finally go through the secret guarded door. 4 out of 5, 87%, one of the greatest point-and-click adventure games ever made. The puzzles are well done. The puzzles in Fallout 1 are never this cryptic, but the interface manages to be a problem throughout the entire game. Here are a quick selection of problems I kept having. Many of the character models look exactly the same, so trying to work out who is on your side in a battle is almost impossible. That was my dog I just killed. When trading, you can only move 999 caps at a time, so when trying to buy this combat armor, for example, I have to move my caps across 21 separate times. Dozens of bookshelves are glitched, so when trying to inspect them, the game thinks you're picking them up and says that they're too heavy. When standing in front of a door, it disappears, so my character keeps trying to lockpick the fucking walls behind them. You can't walk through any other characters, so if they block a doorway, you just have to wait until they move on their own. Your items are shown as a vertical list, so you're constantly needing to scroll through them, trying to find the things you need. When using explosives, you have to arm them within these menus, but once armed, rather than being dropped from your inventory, they move to the bottom of your item select list, so to drop them properly, you have to scroll down to the very bottom of your inventory, click on them, and then select drop. And I think we all saw that coming, didn't we? In Fallout 1, your character has to travel through the post-apocalyptic wasteland to find a water chip so that your vault doesn't die of thirst. While you're out, you discover super mutants that want to take over what is left of the world, and you have to stop them. But what's so good about Fallout's story is how subtly it escalates. Early on, you go to a nearby trading town while looking for a water chip, and while talking to the town's leader, Killian, you witness his murder. Well, unless we step in and then it's an attempted murder. Oh my god, I've absolutely destroyed him. Killian, seeing that you can handle yourself, asks you to take out the corrupt kingpin of this town, Gizmo. But he looks so trustworthy. Upon completing this task, oh my god, this game is so violent. Killian then offers you some better equipment, thus teaching you that completing these additional quests are probably going to be quite important in helping you save your vault. In Fallout 1, your main goal is always your primary focus, but the secondary quests you stumble upon are usually cleverly intertwined. It's not like all these newfangled games where every human being on Earth calls you out of the blue in the first 5 minutes. My cat is stuck up a tree, I hear you can double jump now. The thing is though, between you and me, I didn't like this game when I first played it. Shh. This is largely because working out what you need to do and actually doing it both can be incredibly challenging. To add to this, the game's combat is also incredibly difficult. Decide you want to roleplay as a pacifist and put all your points into unarmed and sneak, and it's effectively game over, boys.
We shall see, won't we?
Okay, he's knocked me down, but we've still got this. Seems about right. But once I completed Fallout for the first time, this is where my opinion about it really started to change. When you return to the world and you're familiar with how it plays is when I think it really starts to shine. You see, in the beginning you decide in insane detail all the skills and traits you want your character to have, and what you pick here can completely change the entire game. Characters will talk to you differently based on your attributes, and basically every situation has an alternate way of solving it if your character has the right specific set of skills. Famously, the entire game has also been completely rewritten so that you can play through it with a character that's too stupid to even talk.
Get your butt in here and sit down.
Bleh.
Get out of here, you idiot.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the best example. Fallout 1 is like this enormous sandbox where you can try dozens of different strategies and they all affect the game in different ways. You're also within a time limit of sorts, and how quickly you complete the game drastically affects its ending. So every decision, every skill point, every journey you pick is crucial. And it creates quite a tense experience. You see, for a post-apocalyptic world, this game is extremely densely populated. There are dozens of characters, decisions, mountains of lore, and numerous locations to visit. The writing is nothing short of constantly excellent, with even the combat text being fleshed out with interesting phrases. You were hit for 82 points. The scars and bruises will make for good party talk. You are dead. Or my absolute favorite, Harry was critically hit for no damage, hurting the giant. See, now I think this game's just fucking with me. And because the number of characters you meet in this game that actually have voices are kept to a minimum, with only 21 in the entire game, coincidentally the exact number of times you need to move 999 caps along to buy combat armor, this gives each location with a voice actor an incredible amount of depth and personality.
But the High Elder decreed no training of new recruits until the threat of invasion passes.
Overall then, I just think Fallout 1 on its first playthrough is too challenging and clunky to really appreciate. That's fine. It's a little bit like Dark Souls, but instead of only getting good after the first 5 hours, Fallout 1 only really gets good after you've completed the entire game. Now there's a marketing slogan for you. Thank you everyone for watching. In the next episode, I'll be reviewing Fallout 2, the 60-hour-long version of Fallout 1. And now for our sponsor. So here I am, back in the old den, and I just wanted to thank Raycon for sponsoring today's video. You see, I love using wires. I still use wired controllers exclusively, and I refuse to admit to my wife that wireless is better in any way. But for earbuds, wireless is just so much better.
I told you.
With Raycon, all you need to do is take the earbuds out, put them in, seamlessly connect them to Bluetooth, and you're done. They're connected and ready to go. And they give 6 hours of playtime, more bass, and a compact design for a more comfortable noise-isolating fit. They work great when playing video games, cooking, or just doing the gardening. Raycons have no dangling wires, they don't even have any stems, so I've never had them fall out, even when I go on my daily runs. Look, I'll prove it to you. Stylish. Raycon also offer their wireless earbuds in a range of colours and patterns, and a variety of fit options. Raycon is disrupting the electronics industry by making great sound for everyone. Their wireless earbuds actually start at half the price of other premium audio brands. The company was even co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Brandy are obsessed with Raycons. And if that wasn't enough, Raycon have a 45-day free returns policy, so if they're not for you, there's no obligation. Click the link in the description box below or go to http://buyraycon.com/UpIsNotJump to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. And that's it everyone. I'm swelteringly hot. Bye, I need to take this off.